first of all, it's a really long flight to get to Madagascar from Provo. Several really long flights, but the last leg of the journey is from South Africa, Johannesburg, to Madagascar. And one of the first things I remember is looking out the window and seeing all these, like this really dirty river that was like red dirt river, and all this laundry laid out over the ground, because that's how they dry their laundry. And just seeing not seeing many like buildings or houses or anything. And it was really, exotic, really cool. It's like, well, this could be interesting. And then we landed, and the airport's really, really small. It's nothing like any American airport. It's really small. You actually get off the plane onto the tarmac, which I thought was, something you only see in movies. Like, oh yeah, they actually got off the plane straight, like the president or whatever it is. We got right off onto the tarmac, and I remember it being really humid. I'm from Utah, and it's not humid at all. And so going to Madagascar was quite the shock. And we had to go through this, it's not customs per se, but something similar to that. But of course we didn't understand what was going on because we couldn't speak the language. And then met our mission president, and I just remember being kind of like in a daze, not knowing what to expect. And from the airport to the mission office was about an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour drive. And I just remember looking out the window, I was with people I knew from the MTC, but then with mission drivers and people and the assistants, and I just remember looking out the window and thinking, man, where did I go? Because it was so different. It was so busy and so crowded, and the streets are really narrow, and I just didn't know what to expect. It was exciting, but I was tired, first of all, from the flight. But it was so different. And we spent the first couple days, relaxing, I guess, getting adjusted. We went on splits the first night with older missionaries. Actually, one of the guys I teach with at the MTC was the one I went on splits with. So went on splits and got a little bit of experience. And I remember he asked me, the missionary I went with, to invite the person to be baptized. Or no, not to invite him to be baptized, but to ask him who he wanted to baptize him, because he was getting baptized that Saturday. And so I was like, I don't know how to say that. I thought I kind of knew, and so I checked with him, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, okay, sweet. And I said it, and it was a good confidence builder for me. Having come straight from the MTC, where I didn't think I knew much, to be able to do that, I was obviously still really scared. And then, so I spent more time in the mission office than the rest of my group, because the rest of my group stayed in the capital. That was their first area. They all served there to begin with, but I went out to the coast, and so I spent a day longer with the mission president, and then I got on a bus, and with another missionary who I didn't know, who I just met. He was American, so I could talk to him, but we got on a bus and rode out 9 hours, 7, 8, 9 hours to the coast, and I get really car sick, and the roads there, like I mentioned, they're narrow, they're not very good, and they drive really fast, and then until they have to slow down for pothole or whatever it is. And so that wasn't good for me, and I was hot and sweating. I was wearing a suit, and I just remember praying a lot, first of all, that I wouldn't throw up, and just trying to sleep the whole time. And eventually it passed. I got there, and it was I met my trainer, and for the first couple of weeks, actually, in my first area, I think I wondered why I was there. Not necessarily as a missionary, but just in that specific situation. My trainer was he was new, I wasn't used to him. He was different than what I expected, and it was interesting experience at first. And I think those first 3 months were probably the maybe not the hardest part of my mission, but the most crucial months for me, at least in terms of growth and effectiveness as a missionary.